morning. Thank you for tuning in for your come up. Today we're going to have a conversation here with a buddy of mine from school, Chrys Thompson. If you like what you watch, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell notification so you don't miss your come up. Today's episode is sponsored by Yapix Web Design and Graphics. How you doing today, Chrys?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for having me, my brother.
I know. Thanks for coming all the way from LA. You know, didn't take much to do that, but thank you.
Hey, this is still home. You know, I can see some people on the way. So
home is home, man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, for those that may not know who you are, even though a lot of people know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I grew up here in Palm Springs. You know, went to Raymond Cree and Palm Springs High School. And then went to UC Riverside, got my undergrad degree in business economics.
There you go.
And then went to get my MBA. I came back out here actually, moved back in with my mom and went right down the street from here at UCR Palm Desert. Got my MBA very young, and then
there you go.
Tried to start my career off out here for a couple of years. Eventually just felt like I needed to leave. Mm-hmm. It was tough, but I knew I had to do it. I wanted to get closer to the music industry. I did. I didn't really know how or what, but I was educated and I just wanted to give it a shot in LA. So I went out there. No plan. I had some money in the bank. My mom held it down for a while out here, so she let me save up and just went for it with no job, no plan. Moved into some Craigslist situation. Craigslist got me my first job, my first 2 living situations for like the first year and a half out there. It was a little rough. Started catching some momentum. Got a full-time job. Was working my way up in education systems, but I was still checking out studios and stuff. I got to meet some people, got to see the industry. That's what I wanted to do. Didn't really know how to add value at that point in the first couple of years, but I just wanted to get exposed to it. Started meeting people. I was in a couple music videos. I was helping with music videos. Just overall, like, understanding how to organize certain things. I think that's where I realized I could bring some value, communicating and stuff. So, so through some people I met, you know, that was my real way to like figure out how to make my own situation work, you know. Okay.
Well, let's talk about your passion. Yeah. Music's your passion, right?
Yeah, man.
How did you know at what point in life that music is my passion? This is what I love doing. This is what I'm gonna go ham in.
For me, it wasn't like, music is my thing. Right. I knew I liked it, and I knew that it was fun, right?
Right.
Like in high school, like freestyling, right, with the homies, like whether before practice or after basketball practice, we'd be in the car, have my 2 12-inch subs, we're like turning up the music, my homies know who it is, and like we would just be like clowning each other, right? So like we're like trying to come up with the funniest lines that rhyme and like make fun of what someone's wearing, or if they spill ketchup on themselves at lunch or something, or like if they're wearing some old shoes that they should have cleaned off before school started. But like it was freestyling, and it was just like it was never ever serious. But then some people be like, I think you're kind of good, I'm like, oh, appreciate it. I sucked, I thought, right? So it's like, hey, if you're honest with yourself in the beginning of anything, you're gonna suck, and you got to go through that. In college, I started seeing people like, I was like, oh, they freestyle for real out here. Like, that's another level. They were like, people like trying to use bigger words and more educated.
You putting textbooks into your freestyles.
they had like more substance, and they had like a reason to freestyle. We were just clowning, and they're like, oh no, they're serious. They're talking about stuff. So I tried to pop in on some of those freestyle sessions, and I was a little nervous. I was a freshman, in college. Playing basketball always has connected me to people, So on the basketball court, I met some people that were making some music. They were producing, and I never even like the concept of producing to me wasn't. It didn't cross my mind like that I could produce a beat that I rap on. And I was picking beats. They were called mixtape beats back in the day. Now they're just called YouTube beats. But like Dr. Dre would have instrumental versions of his like popular songs on the Chronic or whatever, and I would just write like a lot of verses down, and I would just rap over like a microphone on like old school technology, right? For sure, yeah. One take. Like you mess up, you got to start it all the way over, right? I learned how to make beats through this guy I met and a little team of people, a little crew they had out there. And they basically kind of took me under their wing. They were a couple years older, all of them. And they saw that, I wanted to get into it, and we just started like working. One of them had a house off campus, and we would go in the closet and spit our bars out, and then we would just drive home with a new song, right? And just doing that. I don't know how I could say I discovered it. It was more just like fun. Never like, oh, this is going to be my career. This is what I would want to make money off of. Like, to me, that was like a far reach, right?
Yeah.
When I moved back here, I got tight with somebody I grew up with.
Right.
And we formed a rap group. And it was like, I'm getting my MBA out here, living with my mom, and I'm in a rap group. So it's like, my dad would like
all you need is a tour
didn't
bus.
understand how it made sense. It's like none of it made sense, right? It's like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna start your own music company? I'm like, no, I'm just rapping and I'm getting my MBA. Like who knows what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
But we got down. Like I kept my grades up, but like every little second we were in my car and we were writing and we were recording in my room, in my mom's crib. You know what I mean? And we were just working and just made like dozens and dozens and dozens of songs, and nobody's ever gonna hear them and nobody's heard them. So it's just like we were working, and it was for us to just perfect our craft.
Right. And
he taught me a lot, my rap partner, and it was just like the words came easy to me, but the tempo and the beat and just like the swag of it, it wasn't naturally to me coming to me. But I knew how to catch things. I just didn't know how to stop and like catch it like where.
I don't think Eminem rapped on beat, really. He just
spit. But so it's like the goal is to try to merge these two worlds in my mind, right? Merge like having some substance and like saying some words that people don't usually use, and then like try to catch the beat like all the way, right? Years of that. It's just all like, to me, looking back, it was all practice. You got to put the hours in.
Progress is a process, right?
Yeah, I'm glad. A lot of it felt like it could have been wasted nights or whatever. But like, I got a lot of homies that play video games. I really asked myself, like, how do I discover this passion? Well, it's just like, I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to sit around and play video games.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I couldn't get anything out of that.
Right.
Whether I beat you or you smash me, like the next day comes and I don't have anything to show for it. Like with all due respect to video game lovers, like that wasn't me anymore, right? Like I wanted to like make something that lasted. So that was like what fueled me to be my best.
Speaking of video games, in college, Madden was definitely one of those video games that ended friendships.
Yeah, man. People get hot.
Yeah.
If you come out, you get that 21 skunk.
Yeah.
It's like get off the sticks first quarter.
Getting the excuses, man. That ain't even on my team. I don't know why I play with that team.
Yeah. Madden's fake. It's fake.
In your music game, your rap game, you also have a label, you said as well, right? Or you run a label company?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
The struggle is real. Whatever you do, whatever talents or gifts come naturally or easy to you, getting there and putting it to work is always a struggle. How do you stay motivated and inspired when life gives you challenges? How do you stay motivated to keep pushing forward?
I think one of the challenges, try to keep me on track here, but like one of the challenges is just like perspective, right? I think you have more connections now in contact with like what's going on, right? Like, you can see people that are successful, what they look like, what they're doing. There's like a FOMO, like I'm not good enough, I'm not big enough, I'm not doing enough, right? To me, it's like an internal challenge. It's like an internal battle to be like, well, I'm not that big, I'm not that good. Their productions are better. They got their songwriting's better. So I think that the challenge of like putting yourself in the realm where you're not at the top, you're nowhere near the top. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us, when we want to pursue our passions, the doubt creeps in. You know what I mean? And so I think the first way to overcome it is to acknowledge that and just be okay with like, look, I'm not the best, but I can be my best, right? And if I want to get better and better, what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to eat some of this crap. I'm going to have to lose. I'm going to have to take some L's. And so, especially when you're trying to experiment with like new genres and stuff. So I would say just having that awareness is the first thing of saying, look, know where you are, be honest with yourself, and know that you're not going to be at the same level of what's out there. So the more you search, you can probably find some people you think you're better than, but you're also gonna, you're gonna be shooting for the top. So you're not gonna be as good as the people that you want to be, up there with. So anything you do, you're trying to like piece things together to like get that momentum, and with momentum comes confidence. A lot of this stuff is confidence. Like, what do I want to do, and how much am I willing to commit to it? Right. And again, the commitment is the early mornings and the late nights when nobody's seeing when you're struggling. Just not really, it's not coming naturally, right? A lot of passions aren't directly like tied to making money right away. But then some people just push through long enough and they get more money than they ever imagined from it, right? Than they ever needed for it.
Jeff Bezos.
I think a lot of people make excuses.
Yeah.
we're trained to make excuses. Like I hit my snooze button telling myself, all right, I'm just gonna
10 more minutes.
I'm gonna cut 10 minutes off of my shower, shave, and I'm gonna brush my teeth while I you can go on and on and on, you know? So for me, it's like, are you gonna really just own up to the fact that like, all right, I'm gonna use every hour I can to do this, but I've gotta do something that's gonna pay me, right? And so to me, it was never like, I'm gonna just pursue my music career and I'm gonna just like perform and I'm gonna make this money, I'm gonna make beats, whatever it is. I never really thought I was gonna start a recording studio company, you know, but now I got 4 recording studios that I run with a business partner, you know, but that was not the goal. That was never, but I wanted to get into music.
It seems like that was the consequence of pursuing your passion, you know?
Yes.
In a good way, a good consequence.
It was.
Yeah.
And it was me throwing myself at something and meeting people, and we realized that like everyone needs a studio. We needed a studio.
Right.
Let's get a studio for us to make music.
For sure.
And then it was like, oh, well, we got to pay for this now. Like, how maybe we can offset some of the costs by bringing some other people in. And it started with 1 studio, 2, 3, 4, and it was never the goal to have 4 studios. But then we started getting rentals, and we didn't have a studio to make our music anymore. So it was like, oh, do we just wait until they're gone? But then we lose the momentum, lose the, you know, it's all the same thing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We tried to always have a studio that we would have for us. To make music in whenever we wanted, but then we had some people that loved our studio so much they wanted to rent long term. So we're like, oh, this studio literally we can't even rent this one out anymore. Now we got to, you know, so a lot of it is consequential, and I think that like if you could trust, if you do your part, life will give you opportunities, and whether you're ready for them or not. Like, you can't wait for an opportunity to come. You got to do what you got to do with what's in front of you.
Exactly.
Is the way I see life. I never really thought I can get paid off of this music stuff. Like, I just, whatever it's worth, I never thought that.
Right.
I never figured that out in my head. I just never thought that was going to be me. So I always had to have a steady job. I always worked really hard to like have a day job. It's not, you know, I know a lot of people talk crap about like the 9 to 5 and all that stuff. Like, I get it, right?
You got to pay the bill somehow. They don't pay themselves.
Especially when I moved to LA,
Yeah.
things are more expensive.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's like, what are you really hoping for? You're hoping to hit the lottery. Like, I've been out there almost 10 years now, and I haven't hit the lottery yet.
Yep.
But I have been able to pay my rent, and now for the last couple of years, I've been able to like have a side hustle, and then I've been literally last year was my first year releasing music.
There you go.
Know, make a couple of pennies here and there off that. But you know, for the most part, yeah, I always try to do the most with the time that I have.
Right.
The excuse part is really what I want to say. Is like people are like, oh, I can't do that because I'm working. Like, come on, you got to make it work.
You're working 8-9 hours out of a 24-hour day.
And then you got to use that other 4 or 5, and those are the ones that are going to fulfill you. You know
sure.
what I mean? It goes back to the passion. Like, if you could do a little bit of that, you can endure more on the, I don't really like this, but it's making me money. You know what I mean? So,
like for me, before I realized writing was my thing, I started writing in 2008, but I didn't publish it until a couple years later. Reason being, I don't think no one wants to read it. I mean, there's plenty of other books like that, but one person said, well, other books have been written about that, but none of them have been written by you. Your inspiration, your story could be someone else's inspiration. And from that, I'm like, all right, work for a cause, not for applause, and let's just do it, you know?
Yeah.
Last question I want to ask you, man, since you got some wisdom up in that head of yours. Any last or final words you want to relay to the people watching?
And I'm inspired by some people that are, to me, I would call them like pretty significantly ahead of me in the music situation. Some of them have been really cool, you know, to just give me the feeling like they look at me as a peer. You know what I'm saying? And they talk to me that way. They share with me what's going on. There's a lot of stuff that happens that people don't know about.
Right.
And a lot of decisions are made before you ever would realize be able to have a conversation with someone. So what I'm really saying is like, watch how you treat people, watch how you carry yourself, watch how everything you do matters. And people are always watching.
Right.
So if you just think you can just like take shortcuts or just like not really fully be the best person you can be, people are judging you, people are perceiving you, and they're judging whether they want to do something with you or not based on what they know about you, based on your reputation, based on how you treat, you know, the people around you. And so many decisions are being made that you don't understand. So if you really want to give yourself the best chance in life, you got to treat people right.
Do it 100, whatever it is you're doing.
And like, as much as you want to do your own thing, like you just can't do it alone. very, very few things require just solely you to do them, right? So it's not about just like faking the funk just to get people to help you. It's just about, if I could offer value to you, that's my fastest way to actually have a real relationship with you versus trying to figure out how I can convince you to do something for me.
And you're building a house of cards that way.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you know, Nathen Hache calls me and tells me to come down for an interview. He's not saying like, hey man, you know, I need you to do this for me. He's like, I think this would be good for me and you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it will be, right? So
Sure.
it's just, you got to look at it like that, man. Like, you have to find a way to turn the tables and look at life through someone else's perspective when you're trying to do anything with somebody. You know what I mean?
It's not about what you can do for me, it's what I can do for you. Provide value first.
Yes.
You'll get it back later on.
I heard one thing from one of the mentors that I guess I would call a mentor. He said, if you add value to someone's life, they're going to find a way to pay you.
Yeah.
The right person will. Now, again, you have those people that are going to take advantage of people, but again, you got to have your head on your shoulders and see, and you got to be on the court too and see what's going on too. But for the most part, the right people, and it's true for even when I went to LA, I didn't know really anyone out there. 10 years later, I know a good enough amount of people. Now I got people that want favors for me. I got things to offer, but it all started with me going in there just saying, what can I do to help you?
Right.
You want to know what someone's passion is. You want to ask yourself what your passion is, because that's going to be the why. That's going to be the why to go do this and go talk to that person, go do something for free, go drive somewhere for someone.
Yeah.
And those are the happy accidents that happen where you meet someone. And like, to full circle it, like, I met my business partner right now, one of my best friends, my road dog.
Yeah.
I met him out there. He was an intern for the studio I started hanging out in.
No kidding.
And he was unpaid, grinded, moved out there from Arizona, went after it. No excuses.
Talk about coming up together.
Coming up, and he saw me doing my full-time job come up, trying to get my promotions. I saw him going through, turning into a producer, songwriter, and all this. And then the timing aligned, and now for the last few years, we've been business partners. I would have never guessed I would be where I'm at just by driving out to LA, moving in some old lady's room on Craigslist.
Yeah.
For a couple months with no plan, you know, so that's not what I would advise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But at that time, I needed that push, and I needed just enough of a reason to go out to LA and go see what I could do for myself, you know?
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate it, man.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. Today's episode is sponsored by Yapix Web Design and Graphics. Till next time.